He may even appear absent-minded, aloof, or as though he's not paying attention. To the casual observer, this can look like cluelessness, like he's behind or missing something important. But those who watch closely realize that this apparent cluelessness is deliberate. It is not incompetence, it's strategy. Sigma males often live in a world where people are quick to prove themselves, eager to show how much they know, or desperate to display confidence. But the Sigma takes the opposite path. He lets the room believe he's quiet, detached, maybe even unaware. What most don't realize is that this calm detachment gives him the ultimate advantage: time. Time to watch, time to listen, time to process before acting. There's an old saying, the wise man knows more than he says, while the fool says more than he knows. Sigma males embody this principle. What looks like indifference is often restraint. What looks like passivity is often observation. And what looks like cluelessness is often a subtle way of outsmarting everyone around him. In today's video, we'll explore 6 reasons why Sigma males act clueless, yet secretly use this trait as one of their strongest tools. This isn't about manipulation or playing games. It's about understanding the deeper psychology of a man who doesn't rush, doesn't chase validation, and doesn't feel the need to announce his power. Let's explore why the Sigma male's act of being clueless is, in fact, one of the sharpest forms of intelligence. Number 1, observation before action. Sigma males value silence as much as knowledge, and this quiet discipline is often misunderstood by those around them. To the casual eye, it may seem as though they are aloof, distracted, or even disinterested, yet beneath that exterior is a deliberate strategy. When a Sigma male acts as though he does not fully grasp the situation, he is not displaying ignorance, he is creating space. In that space, something powerful unfolds: observation. By stepping back and allowing others to speak, explain, or even underestimate him, the Sigma male gains something far more valuable than immediate recognition. He gains insight. He learns what drives people, what triggers their emotions, and where their vulnerabilities lie. This approach is rooted in an ancient truth about human interaction. History shows us that some of the most effective leaders and thinkers often listened more than they spoke. Socrates, for instance, was known for asking questions rather than making declarations. His so-called ignorance was not a lack of knowledge, but a way to uncover deeper truths about others. Similarly, Sigma males use their silence as a mirror, letting people reveal themselves in ways they would not if confronted directly. Modern psychology even supports this idea. Research on active listening shows that people reveal more information and more honestly when they feel they are not being challenged or outsmarted. By appearing neutral or even clueless, the Sigma male gathers intelligence quietly, like a strategist mapping the battlefield. It's important to recognize that this isn't laziness or indecision. On the contrary, it is a form of patience that few can master. In a world obsessed with quick reactions and fast answers, the Sigma male's ability to hold back makes him stand apart. Think of it like a chess game. The beginner rushes to move pieces quickly, eager to win early. The master, however, waits, studies, and observes until the right move becomes obvious. That is the Sigma male's way, not rushing into action, but letting others expose their strategies first. This patience allows him to act with precision when the moment is right. Silence also serves another role for Sigma males. It protects their energy. Neuroscience suggests that constant talking and explaining depletes cognitive resources. By conserving words and speaking only when necessary, Sigma males maintain mental clarity and avoid the exhaustion that comes from overexposure. In this way, silence becomes both a shield and a weapon. It shields them from unnecessary entanglements, and it arms them with the clarity to make decisions that others, blinded by noise, often miss. Far from clueless, the Sigma male is quietly writing the script while others are busy acting it out. Number 2, disarming others' guard. When someone appears clueless, the world tends to look at them through a softer lens. People instinctively underestimate those who seem absent-minded, quiet, or uninformed. This is where the Sigma male's subtle brilliance comes into play. By allowing himself to appear detached or even naive, he avoids the spotlight that often draws unwanted competition or resistance. In psychology, this tendency is known as strategic self-presentation, the art of shaping how others perceive you. The Sigma leverages this by lowering the guards of those around him. Instead of being seen as a rival, he is often dismissed as someone harmless, even forgettable. But in that dismissal lies his strength. History and research show us that invisibility can be a powerful weapon. During World War II, military strategists often used deception, appearing weaker or less aware than they actually were, to mislead the enemy. Sigma males do something similar in social and professional settings. By downplaying what they know, they create a safe space where others reveal themselves freely. Conversations open up, hidden motives surface, and opportunities slip into view. While everyone else is busy proving their competence, the Sigma is quietly absorbing details. He gathers information like a sponge, unnoticed and unchallenged. This approach is rooted in behavioral science as well. Studies on social dynamics reveal that people tend to share more with those they don't see as a threat. When someone assumes you're clueless, they let their guard down. They speak more openly, they exaggerate less, and they underestimate your ability to act on what you've learned. The Sigma male thrives here, moving under the radar with freedom. His so-called cluelessness is not ignorance, it is camouflage. Entertainingly enough, you can think of the Sigma as the chess player who pretends not to know the rules, only to later deliver a checkmate. He knows that in a world obsessed with appearances, humility, whether real or performed, is disarming. By stepping back and letting others underestimate him, he creates an unexpected advantage. This makes him unpredictable, hard to manipulate, and ultimately more powerful than those who loudly display their knowledge or strength. So while others are caught up in showing off, the Sigma embraces invisibility as his shield and wisdom as his silent weapon. What looks like cluelessness is often his most calculated move, a way to disarm, observe, and eventually outsmart everyone who thought he wasn't paying attention. In reality, he has been watching all along. Number 3, avoiding needless confrontation. Acting aloof is often misunderstood as carelessness or indifference, but for Sigma males, it is a deliberate and highly effective strategy. By appearing detached or even slightly clueless, they avoid the endless power struggles that dominate much of male social interaction. In many settings, workplaces, friendships, or competitive environments, men often expend enormous amounts of energy trying to outshine, dominate, or impress others. Sociologists describe this as status competition, a deeply ingrained behavior where individuals constantly vie for recognition or superiority. The Sigma male, however, chooses not to enter this exhausting cycle. Instead of fighting for the spotlight, he steps aside, letting others drain themselves in battles that ultimately lead nowhere. This approach is not about weakness or passivity, it's about efficiency. Research in psychology shows that constant rivalry and social comparison can raise stress hormones like cortisol, which over time damage both mental clarity and physical health. By refusing to play the dominance game, the Sigma conserves his energy, preserving it for pursuits that genuinely matter to him. His aloofness acts like a shield, filtering out distractions and unnecessary conflicts. He doesn't need to prove himself in loud ways because his value is not determined by external validation. This self-possession gives him a quiet power that is far more sustainable than the fleeting highs of winning an argument or besting a rival. Interestingly, history and literature give us countless examples of figures who mastered this art of strategic detachment. Philosophers like Marcus Aurelius emphasized the futility of competing for praise, reminding us that external approval is fleeting. Likewise, leaders such as Abraham Lincoln often used humility and quiet restraint to avoid unproductive conflicts, focusing instead on larger goals that truly mattered. The Sigma male walks a similar path. He is not blind to what's happening around him. He simply chooses not to engage unless the situation genuinely aligns with his values or ambitions. In modern society, this mindset offers a crucial lesson. Many people burn themselves out chasing recognition or reacting to provocations. The Sigma's apparent cluelessness is a reminder that not every battle is worth fighting, not every comment deserves a reply, and not every stage requires your presence. By stepping back, he retains clarity, focus, and autonomy. What others mistake as ignorance is, in fact, wisdom in disguise, a conscious refusal to be pulled into noise. And while the crowd wrestles for dominance, the Sigma quietly advances, directing his energy toward his own vision of success, untouched by the chaos that surrounds him. Number 4, strategic listening. Most people listen with one goal, to reply. They are not truly absorbing what is being said, they are simply waiting for their turn to speak. The Sigma male, however, listens differently. He listens to understand. This distinction may sound subtle, but it changes everything. When someone listens only to respond, their mind is busy crafting a comeback or rehearsing their next sentence. But when one listens to understand, the mind becomes still, present, and receptive. The Sigma embodies this second form of listening, and it gives him an edge in social interactions that most people overlook. Psychologists call this active listening, and studies have shown that it leads to deeper trust, stronger relationships, and better communication outcomes. In fact, research in organizational psychology reveals that leaders who practice true listening are more likely to inspire loyalty and uncover critical information. For the Sigma, this isn't just a leadership technique, it's a way of life. By staying quiet and letting others fill the silence, he creates a space where people feel safe to reveal themselves, and in doing so, they often share more than they intended. This phenomenon isn't accidental. Communication experts point out that silence often makes people uncomfortable, prompting them to over-explain or disclose hidden details just to fill the gap. The Sigma uses this natural tendency to his advantage, storing every piece of information with precision. Think of it like a chess game. While others rush their moves, eager to prove themselves, the Sigma studies the board in silence. He observes patterns, notes weaknesses, and sees opportunities forming long before anyone else does. His quietness isn't ignorance, it's strategy. By allowing others to speak freely, he gathers insights not just about facts, but about personalities, motives, and vulnerabilities. Over time, these insights become a powerful arsenal, an invisible advantage that allows him to navigate life with a kind of effortless precision. History is filled with examples of this power of silence and observation. Leaders like Abraham Lincoln were known for speaking less and listening more, often letting others underestimate them before revealing the depth of their knowledge. Similarly, in martial arts traditions, the master watches the student carefully before making a move. The Sigma carries this same spirit into everyday life. He doesn't need to prove what he knows, because knowledge withheld is often more powerful than knowledge displayed. So while the world chatters away, the Sigma listens, not to reply, but to understand. And in that understanding, he uncovers truths that others miss, truths that shape his quiet but undeniable influence. Number 5, preserving energy and focus. Not everything deserves a reaction, and Sigma males understand this better than most. Their ability to remain detached isn't about being cold or unfeeling, it's about conserving energy for what truly matters. In a world where constant stimulation, arguments, and social noise pull people in every direction, Sigma males stand apart. By refusing to get entangled in trivial disputes or meaningless drama, they maintain mental clarity and emotional balance. This selective response is not laziness, it's strategy. Psychologists often highlight the concept of emotional regulation, which is the skill of controlling how one responds to external triggers. Studies in neuroscience reveal that our brains burn tremendous amounts of energy when engaged in conflict or overreaction. Every emotional outburst or unnecessary debate can drain focus that could otherwise be channeled into solving problems, pursuing goals, or building meaningful connections. Sigma males seem to grasp this instinctively. They know that reacting to every provocation is like pouring water into a leaking bucket. It exhausts resources with no lasting benefit. History offers plenty of examples of individuals who mastered this principle. Think of Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic Roman emperor, who advised in his writings that true strength lies in self-mastery, not in overpowering others. Similarly, samurai in feudal Japan practiced mushin, the art of no mind, where one does not allow distractions or petty matters to cloud judgment. Sigma males operate in a comparable way, reserving their sharpest energy for pursuits that align with their values and long-term vision. This detachment doesn't mean they lack passion. On the contrary, it allows them to direct passion where it creates impact, toward projects, personal missions, or relationships that truly count. Imagine a chess player who doesn't waste moves chasing pawns, but instead calculates how to protect the king. Sigma males embody this mindset, recognizing that attention is their most valuable currency. By ignoring what is shallow, they invest in what is deep. In everyday life, this plays out in subtle ways. When someone tries to provoke them with gossip or petty insults, the Sigma male often responds with silence, a faint smile, or no response at all. This isn't weakness. It unsettles the other person, revealing who is truly in control. Meanwhile, the Sigma walks away unbothered, mind still focused on his creative work, personal growth, or private ambitions. Ultimately, their detachment is not about indifference, it's about discipline. In a culture addicted to reaction, Sigma males prove that the most powerful move is sometimes no move at all. By staying calm, they conserve energy, maintain focus, and keep their eyes fixed on the things that genuinely shape their future. Number 6, mastery of timing. The Sigma knows that knowledge isn't just about what you know, it's about when you use it. By appearing behind the curve, he creates the perfect moment to step forward. When he finally acts, it's decisive, efficient, and often surprising to those who assumed he was clueless all along. This approach may seem puzzling, but it reflects one of the oldest truths about intelligence. Timing is often more valuable than raw information. In chess, for example, a player may deliberately sacrifice a piece, giving the illusion of weakness, only to unleash a checkmate a few moves later. The Sigma male embodies this same principle in everyday life. His silence and seeming detachment are often the quiet setup for a calculated move that others never saw coming. This strategy is rooted in psychology as much as it is in philosophy. Studies in behavioral science show that people who withhold information or remain quiet in group settings are often perceived as less knowledgeable. Yet when they do finally contribute, their words carry greater weight. This is known as the sleeper effect, where the delayed delivery of a message makes it more impactful. Sigma males use this natural bias to their advantage, allowing others to underestimate them until the perfect moment arrives. Instead of wasting energy proving themselves constantly, they let the environment reveal its hand, then respond with precision. History is full of examples where restraint proved more powerful than action. Take Sun Tzu's Art of War, a book still studied by military leaders and CEOs today. One of its core teachings is to appear weak when you are strong. This philosophy resonates deeply with the Sigma archetype. By appearing out of the loop or disinterested, he avoids unnecessary attention and pressure. Meanwhile, he is quietly observing, gathering details, and sharpening his strategy. When he finally reveals his understanding, it not only surprises others, but also shifts the balance of power in his favor. From a practical perspective, this behavior is also tied to emotional intelligence. Unlike those who rush to showcase their knowledge, Sigma males understand that wisdom is not measured by speed, but by impact. They recognize that speaking too soon can betray insecurity, while silence can project calm confidence. Neuroscience supports this as well. The brain's prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making, thrives when given time to process. Acting with patience allows decisions to be sharper, while impulsive responses often lead to errors. So when a Sigma seems clueless, it's rarely a lack of awareness. It's a test, a pause, a deliberate moment of waiting for the right alignment. His power lies not in showing off, but in surprising those who doubted him. And when he finally makes his move, whether in relationships, business, or social dynamics, he reminds everyone that the quietest man in the room often holds the sharpest mind. His restraint is not passivity, it is strategy. And it is this timing that makes his knowledge not just useful, but unforgettable. The Sigma male's apparent cluelessness is not a weakness at all. It's a calculated move, a quiet strategy shaped by patience, observation, and timing. In many ways, this mirrors tactics found in nature and even human history. Predators like owls or big cats rarely rush. They watch, they wait, and only when the moment is right do they strike with precision. The Sigma operates in much the same way, understanding that in a world where everyone else is scrambling for attention and validation, silence becomes a weapon of its own. When he appears aloof or as though he's not paying attention, he is often absorbing everything. Psychologists note that strong observers tend to notice patterns others miss, changes in tone, inconsistencies in stories, or hidden motivations. By acting detached, the Sigma allows people to reveal themselves freely, often exposing more than they would in front of someone eager to impress. It's a subtle form of social intelligence, not unlike the tactics used by skilled negotiators or detectives who know that silence encourages the other person to keep talking. This so-called cluelessness also buys him time. In a fast-paced society that rewards quick reactions, the Sigma sees the value in delaying his response. Research on decision-making shows that impulsive choices often lead to mistakes, while those who take a moment to analyze tend to achieve better outcomes. The Sigma doesn't rush to prove he knows. It's often more effective to let others underestimate him. This strategy has roots in Sun Tzu's The Art of War, where appearing weak or ignorant is sometimes the most powerful way to gain an advantage. Far from being a flaw, this silence-driven approach becomes a shield against unnecessary conflict and a compass towards smarter outcomes. While others waste energy trying to dominate conversations or prove themselves, the Sigma conserves his strength. And in that quiet, he doesn't just survive, he learns, adapts, and ultimately outsmarts. What looks like cluelessness is, in truth, the art of playing the long game, where the real victory belongs not to the loudest, but to the most patient and perceptive. Greetings. If there's one thing you should know about a Sigma male, it's this. He's not the type to make a big scene or constantly call people out. But don't mistake his silence for ignorance. A Sigma never overlooks disrespect, manipulation, or passive aggression. Not because he wants to start drama, but because he knows one overlooked offense leads to another. And before long, people start testing his boundaries like it's a game. The Sigma understands human psychology better than most. He knows that when you allow one person to cross a line, others will follow suit like clockwork. It doesn't matter if you're his friend, co-worker, or even a romantic partner. Once you disrespect a Sigma's values or personal code, the connection begins to unravel. Sigmas have an internal compass that doesn't allow them to tolerate certain behaviors, no matter who it's coming from. This isn't about pride or ego, it's about principle. They live by a set of rules that prioritize self-respect, mental peace, and independence. And once you break those rules, it's not just a personal offense, it's a breach of the trust that the Sigma rarely gives in the first place. People often mistake Sigma males as loners or cold-hearted individuals, but in reality, they're some of the most calculated and self-aware people you'll ever meet. Their emotional distance isn't detachment, it's discipline. They've learned through experience and observation that tolerance for toxic behavior is a fast track to chaos. They don't just talk about boundaries, them, with quiet confidence and no need for explanation. So if you find yourself in the company of a Sigma and want to stay there, know this. Respect is not optional. It's the currency of connection in his world. Coming up next, we're diving into the 8 specific things Sigma males will never tolerate from anyone. Stay tuned. Number 1. Fake respect and forced politeness. Here's the thing, a Sigma male doesn't need a smile if it's hiding a knife. He doesn't care for polished politeness that conceals a hidden agenda. In fact, he'd rather be hit with the raw truth than be coddled by sugar-coated deception. That's because Sigmas thrive on clarity, not comfort. They operate in a realm where words must carry the weight of truth, not just the melody of charm. In a world addicted to superficial pleasantries and social masks, Sigma males are a rare breed who instinctively detect what's real and what's rehearsed. They are naturally equipped with a sharp BS detector, an almost uncanny ability to read between the lines. Psychology refers to this as high social intelligence, particularly in the form of cognitive empathy. Unlike emotional empathy, which makes one feel others' emotions, cognitive empathy allows a person to understand the motives and intentions behind someone's actions. Sigmas don't just hear what you say, they observe how you say it, watch what you do, and notice whether those two things line up. If your actions contradict your words, he won't confront you with drama or create a scene, he'll simply detach. Quietly, permanently, that's the Sigma way. People pleasers and overcharmers rarely survive long in a Sigma's orbit. Why? Because the constant need for validation and approval disrupts the natural independence that defines a Sigma's world. Sigmas don't care if you like them, they care if you respect them. And respect, in their book, is never handed out for free. It must be earned through integrity and consistency. Courtesy that's just performance doesn't impress them, it irritates them. You can be imperfect, messy, even disagreeable. But as long as you're real, a Sigma will respect you for it. What truly turns a Sigma off is inauthenticity. Fake laughs, forced compliments, manipulative friendliness, these are like static noise to his frequency. He doesn't expect perfection, he expects sincerity. That's why Sigmas are often drawn to people who are unapologetically themselves. Even if you're blunt or rough around the edges, your honesty is refreshing. But once he senses you're wearing a mask, you're already fading into the background. To a Sigma male, authenticity isn't optional. It's the only language he speaks. Number 2, drama and gossip. If you ever want to see a Sigma vanish like Houdini, start talking about what Sarah said about Mike, who cheated on Lisa with Karen. That's the fastest way to lose him, because Sigmas don't do soap operas. They don't get tangled in emotional theatrics or the swirling vortex of gossip that keeps so many people mentally exhausted and emotionally spent. To a Sigma male, drama is the equivalent of junk food for the soul. It's fast, it's tempting, and it provides a short burst of excitement. But in the end, it leaves you sluggish, empty, and spiritually undernourished. Sigmas thrive on peace and clarity. They've learned that feeding off chaos doesn't just kill productivity, it warps your perception and drains your focus. While the average person may find gossip entertaining or even a way to bond socially, Sigmas see it for what it truly is, a distraction from purpose. Research even backs this up. Constant exposure to social drama has been linked to increased stress, anxiety, and even lower self-esteem. Sigmas are wired to protect their inner energy from that nonsense. They know that every minute spent dissecting someone else's messy life is a minute stolen from their own goals, dreams, and mental clarity. These men are builders of ideas, businesses, skills, and personal growth. Their minds are constantly occupied with the question, how can I improve this? Whether it's themselves, their craft, or the world around them, they're locked into a mindset of elevation, not degradation. So if someone brings drama to the table, a Sigma will quietly excuse himself. No confrontation, no explanation, just silence. Because in his world, time is sacred and peace is non-negotiable. You'll never catch a Sigma choosing gossip over growth or pettiness over purpose. If your life runs on chaos, attention-seeking, and who said what to whom, don't expect him to sit through the show. He's already left the theater. Number 3, manipulation, emotional blackmail, guilt trips, passive-aggressive games. These are manipulation tactics often used to gain control in relationships, whether romantic, professional, or social. But try pulling any of that on a Sigma male and you'll quickly find yourself talking to empty space. Sigmas are masters of silent exits. You won't get drama, confrontation, or a long-winded explanation, just their sudden and complete disappearance. That's not arrogance, it's self-respect. See, Sigma males are lone wolves by nature. They're not looking to be saved or soothed. They're not clinging to relationships for validation or security. Unlike those who dread solitude, Sigmas actually recharge in it. That's their edge. Emotional manipulation thrives on dependency, on someone needing approval, affection, or reassurance so badly that they'll tolerate mistreatment to keep the peace. But a Sigma, he's already at peace on his own, so if you try to play mind games with him, he simply opts out. No fuss, no warning, just gone. It's not that Sigmas are cold or heartless, quite the opposite. They often care deeply, but their self-worth isn't tied to others' behavior. They've learned that arguing with manipulative people only fuels the fire. Instead of reacting, they remove themselves. This mindset is backed by psychology too. Studies show that emotionally intelligent individuals, those with high self-awareness and self-regulation, are far less likely to be swayed by guilt or gaslighting. Sigma males embody that emotional intelligence. They see through the smokescreen, recognize the patterns, and don't stick around for round 2. What really sets them apart is their ability to detach with dignity. They don't retaliate. They don't try to out-manipulate the manipulator. They just walk away, leaving behind a powerful message, I choose peace over drama. That's their strength. In a world where many are pulled into toxic dynamics out of fear of being alone, the Sigma male's solitude is his superpower. Try to control him, and you'll find he's already 10 steps ahead, moving in silence, unmoved by guilt, and untouchable by games. Number 4, lack of boundaries. Call him cold, call him distant, call him mysterious. But here's the truth. The Sigma male has walls, not fences, and you don't get in unless you're invited. He doesn't build these walls to push people away out of arrogance or superiority. He builds them because solitude is his sanctuary, and peace is a currency he refuses to waste. To outsiders, this might seem harsh, even unfriendly, but what they fail to realize is that the Sigma male isn't interested in small talk, emotional manipulation, or performative relationships. He values depth, honesty, and autonomy, and anyone who threatens that equilibrium is met with the quiet force of his boundaries. He guards his time, energy, and peace like it's sacred. Why? Because it is. In a world that thrives on noise, validation, and overstimulation, the Sigma male retreats inward. Psychological studies show that introverted personality types, particularly those resembling the Sigma archetype, require extended alone time to recharge and function at their best. This isn't some trendy self-care ritual, it's a neurological necessity. When people invade his space without permission, constantly demand his presence, or refuse to acknowledge his need for independence, he doesn't argue or lash out. He disappears, not out of spite, but self-preservation. If you constantly barge into his life, demand attention, overstep limits, or ignore his no, expect to meet his silence. Not the cold shoulder kind of silence, but the kind that comes with doors quietly shutting and locks clicking into place. It's not personal, it's principle. The Sigma male doesn't beg to be understood, he doesn't chase validation, and he certainly doesn't entertain chaos disguised as closeness. His silence is his final answer. Boundaries aren't optional, they're survival. In a world that rarely respects the need for space or individuality, the Sigma male has learned that drawing the line isn't just about protecting himself, it's about preserving his ability to think, create, and live on his own terms. You either respect that, or you find yourself on the other side of his wall, wondering why he vanished without a word. The truth is, he didn't vanish. He simply chose peace over pressure and clarity over confusion. That's not cold, that's controlled. Number 5, neediness and emotional dependency. Let's be honest, Sigma males aren't babysitters for fragile egos. They aren't wired to cater to constant emotional maintenance or the exhausting tug-of-war of neediness. For a Sigma, energy is sacred. Every interaction is a transaction, and when it comes to emotional energy, they don't spend it where there's no return. Clinginess, codependency, or emotional meltdowns over an unread text. That's like trying to plug a USB into a stone wall. It just doesn't connect. Now, don't mistake this for cold-heartedness. Sigma males absolutely care. In fact, when they connect, it's deeply authentic. But their love language isn't constant validation. They thrive in relationships that operate on mutual respect and emotional independence. It's not about being distant, it's about choosing depth over drama. And this mindset is backed by psychological science too. Studies in attachment theory show that secure individuals value autonomy while still forming strong, meaningful bonds. That's exactly the Sigma's lane. Sigma males are deeply drawn to strength, specifically the kind that comes from within. They admire people who are self-reliant, those who carry themselves with quiet confidence and navigate life without needing a spotlight or applause. Resilience is attractive. Emotional maturity is magnetic. If you fall apart every time they need space, or if your world collapses when a text goes unanswered for an hour, they're going to quietly slip away. You see, Sigmas are minimalists when it comes to relationships, not in terms of affection, but in terms of emotional chaos. They don't want a partner who constantly needs to be rescued. They want someone who can hold their own, who can communicate with honesty but not desperation. There's beauty in being real and raw, in expressing yourself authentically. But when that honesty turns into constant emotional neediness, it becomes an expense the Sigma male isn't willing to carry. Their mindset is simple. They're building a peaceful, purposeful life. If your presence brings peace, you're welcome. But if it brings pressure, you'll find yourself watching them walk away silently and without explanation. Because to a Sigma, peace isn't negotiable. Number 6, groupthink and herd mentality. Here's something that rattles a Sigma to his core: blind conformity. To a Sigma male, the idea of following the herd without thought or reason is not just uncomfortable, it's unacceptable. In a world where most people are wired to seek approval, blend in, and follow trends for the sake of social acceptance, the Sigma male operates like a lone wolf who listens to a different frequency altogether. He's not driven by what's popular. He's driven by what's true. While others nod along just to avoid conflict or to gain favor, the Sigma remains unmoved, even if it means standing alone. He questions the system. He interrogates the norms. He challenges the status quo. And if something doesn't sit right with his internal compass, he doesn't just disagree silently. He quietly withdraws and redirects his energy toward a more authentic path. When society says fit in, the Sigma doesn't just ignore it. He pauses and asks, why? That question, simple as it seems, is the bedrock of his individuality. He's not being difficult for the sake of rebellion. He's being honest. Sigmas don't adopt belief systems because they're convenient. They don't jump on bandwagons or follow fashion trends just to look cool. Instead, they filter everything through a rigorous inner lens. If it doesn't resonate with their core values, they simply won't fake it. And this isn't just about being different, it's about being real. This kind of mindset has historical roots. Some of the world's most influential thinkers, inventors, and revolutionaries embodied the Sigma spirit. From Nikola Tesla, who defied mainstream science, to Steve Jobs, who literally coined the slogan, "Think different," these men didn't conform, they transformed. What makes the Sigma male dangerous to the system is not aggression or ego, it's clarity. He sees through the noise, he doesn't crave attention, but his quiet confidence and refusal to bow to trends make him magnetic. In a world of filters and facades, his authenticity is rare and unsettling to many. So when you see someone who stands apart, questions everything, and refuses to follow blindly, you might be witnessing the Sigma at work. He doesn't need to shout. He doesn't need to prove. He just lives the truth, and that alone is enough to shake the world. Number 7, disrespect. Sigmas may be silent, but they're not spineless. Behind that calm exterior lies an iron will and a deeply rooted principle. Respect is non-negotiable. For Sigma males, it's not about ego or dominance, it's about self-worth. They know their value, and they've worked hard to cultivate a sense of identity that doesn't rely on validation from others. That's why respect isn't something they hope for in a relationship, it's the foundation. Without it, there's no trust, no connection, and certainly no reason to stay. You can disagree with a Sigma male. In fact, he welcomes thoughtful debate. Intellectual stimulation is one of the rare things that actually engages him. He's not intimidated by being challenged, he thrives on it. But there's a hard boundary between disagreement and disrespect. The moment someone crosses that invisible line, whether through condescension, manipulation, or outright insult, the switch flips. And here's where Sigma males differ from others. They don't raise their voice. They don't go to war, they simply vanish. This reaction isn't passive-aggressive, it's strategic. Sigmas are highly self-aware and emotionally disciplined. Psychologically, this is known as strategic withdrawal, a conscious decision to remove oneself from toxic environments rather than engaging in destructive behavior. It's not a weakness, it's self-preservation. While others might waste time arguing or seeking closure, a Sigma cuts the cord instantly. Like a shadow dissolving into the night, he exits with no announcement, no drama, and no second chances. Why does he never come back? Because returning would mean compromising his boundaries. Sigmas live by an internal code that values solitude over chaos, peace over ego, and growth over validation. Once disrespected, trust is shattered beyond repair. Studies in social psychology confirm that individuals with high self-respect are less likely to tolerate repeated offenses. And Sigmas are the epitome of that principle. In a world obsessed with noise, Sigma males move with quiet power. They don't need the last word. They don't need to prove a point. Their absence is the message. And those who once took their silence for weakness soon realize they were in the presence of someone who demanded respect without ever having to ask for it. Number 8, control. You want to lose a Sigma, try to own him, micromanage him, tell him who to be, what to wear, how to act, and who to love. You'll lose him in an instant. That's not drama, that's biology. Sigma males are wired for independence. They don't just value freedom, they breathe it. It's as essential to them as air. The moment they sense a leash, they disappear like smoke in the wind. You can't own what refuses to be possessed. Sigmas were born allergic to cages. This isn't just poetic language, it reflects a real psychological pattern rooted in high levels of self-determination and autonomy. Studies on personality types often associate these traits with introverted, non-conforming individuals who are deeply driven by internal goals rather than external validation. They're not trying to be rebellious. They're just built differently. Whether it's a relationship, a job, a social group, or even pressure from family, Sigma males instinctively recoil from anything that feels like control. And here's the thing. Sigmas don't equate love with obedience. They equate love with respect for their space, their mind, and their mission. Tell a Sigma who to be, and you're no longer a partner. You've become a warden. Try to mold him into someone else, and you'll find yourself talking to his back as he walks away. You see, Sigmas seek freedom, not comfort. While others chase security, acceptance, or approval, Sigmas chase purpose and liberty. And if they have to choose between being accepted or being free, they choose freedom. Every time. Not out of pride, but out of principle. They know that compromise on core identity is a slow death of the soul. So if you want to lose a Sigma, control him. But if you want to keep one, understand this. He's not looking for someone to complete him. He's looking for someone who won't try to change him. Sigmas live by a silent code. It's not written, it's lived. They don't waste words. They don't fake feelings. They don't tolerate nonsense. And that's what makes them powerful. If you're tired of playing the social game, of tolerating less than you deserve, of being someone you're not, maybe you've got a Sigma inside you waiting to rise. So start setting your boundaries. Walk away from what drains you. Be unapologetically authentic. Because power begins where tolerance ends. Sigmas, if this resonated with you, hit that like button, subscribe, and become part of a community that values depth over noise, strength over show, and freedom over fitting in. Let's keep growing. Let's keep rising. Stay safe and stay Sigma. When a Sigma male enters the room, something invisible but undeniable shifts. The energy changes. It's not about what he says, it's about what he say. He doesn't come in loud, doesn't flash status, and doesn't demand attention, yet somehow he, the atmosphere, the alpha males, usually the ones filling the space with their voice and presence, suddenly go quiet. Their dominance feels challenged, not by aggression, but by mystery. The betas, often seeking cues from others to feel safe, look confused, trying to interpret this calm force that doesn't fit into their social script. And the ones faking confidence, they feel exposed, nervous, almost as if someone just saw through the mask they've spent years perfecting. So what is it about the Sigma that creates this ripple? It's not magic, it's psychology. Sigma males tend to score high in self-reliance and emotional intelligence. They move with purpose, speak only when necessary, and are deeply aware of their surroundings. This quiet assurance disturbs those who rely on loudness and performance to validate their worth. In a world built around pecking orders and attention economies, a man who doesn't care about being seen but still gets seen becomes a silent threat. And when the Sigma leaves, that's when the paranoia starts. People question if he noticed their insecurities, if he saw past their facades, because he probably did. Sigma males are observers, not out of judgment, but out of instinct. They read people, assess dynamics, and carry themselves as if they've already won a game everyone else is still trying to understand. In this video, we're diving deep into 8 unsettling reasons why Sigma males make others uncomfortable without saying a word. So, if you've ever walked into a room and felt eyes on you, not out of admiration, but confusion and quiet fear, you're about to understand why. This isn't just content. This is a reflection of your silent dominance. Let's get into it. Number 1, they don't play by the social rule book. In every social group, there are invisible rules that govern how people behave. Rules no one writes down, but everyone somehow knows. You're expected to laugh when the alpha laughs, agree when the crowd agrees, and follow the energy of the room like a leaf caught in the wind. These rules form the glue of group dynamics, maintaining order and making interactions predictable. But when a Sigma male enters that same environment, things start to shift. He doesn't follow the script, and that alone sends ripples through the social atmosphere. Sigmas don't play the social game, they observe it. While others are jockeying for status, attention, or validation, a Sigma male remains detached, not because he's trying to be rebellious, but because he genuinely doesn't need to compete in the same arena. Psychologically, this behavior is linked to what researchers call introverted assertiveness, a rare mix of quiet confidence and self-reliance. A Sigma doesn't need to be the loudest voice in the room to be heard. In fact, his silence often speaks louder than anyone else's words. What makes this dynamic so unsettling to others is that it disrupts the social hierarchy. Most people are subconsciously wired to seek approval through laughter, flattery, or imitation. It's a form of social bonding rooted in our evolutionary need for tribe acceptance. But the Sigma walks into that same room and doesn't laugh on cue, doesn't nod when everyone else does, and doesn't flinch at awkward silences. He's not cold, he's just in control. That lack of neediness creates tension, because people don't know how to handle someone who isn't seeking their validation. This behavioral independence often translates into social power. When you don't chase approval, you appear stronger. When you don't force conversation or fake smiles, you project authenticity. And when you let everyone else move their pawns while you sit still, strategic, patient, calculating, you become the wild card, the unpredictable element, the one person who can't be easily read or influenced. That freaks people out because most social interactions rely on predictability and feedback. When a Sigma offers neither, the whole system feels like it's short-circuiting. And that's the Sigma's silent advantage. He doesn't just refuse to play the game. He breaks it by refusing to need it. Number 2, they thrive in solitude. You ever notice how society equates solitude with loneliness? Like if you're not constantly surrounded by people, you must be sad or worse, broken. But Sigma males see it differently. For them, solitude isn't something to fear or avoid, it's a sanctuary. It's the space where they recharge, reconnect with themselves, and sharpen their vision. While most people are out chasing approval, attention, or distraction, the Sigma male is embracing the quiet, because that's where real clarity lives. There's a reason why people find this so unsettling. In a world addicted to noise and validation, where notifications, likes, and follower counts define worth, the Sigma's detachment is like a glitch in the matrix. How can someone be so okay without the constant applause of others? The truth is, Sigma males don't need the crowd to feel complete. They find richness in reflection. Studies in psychology even suggest that individuals who are comfortable being alone tend to have higher emotional intelligence and stronger problem-solving abilities. That's not a weakness, it's a rare strength. When a Sigma male is sitting alone in a cafe or walking solo through a park, he's not lonely. He's recharging, he's processing, he's planning his next move. While others may see silence as an uncomfortable void to be filled, Sigmas see it as a weapon, one that helps them observe, adapt, and evolve. In that silence, they study people, they map out patterns, they notice what others miss. This quiet confidence unsettles those who rely on constant engagement to validate their worth. And that's why people ask, how is he so okay being alone? It's because he owns his silence, he commands it. And let's be honest, silence is golden, but it also has power. Power to unnerve, power to speak louder than noise, power to show that being at peace with yourself is the most intimidating trait of all. When a man no longer fears being alone, he becomes truly free. And that kind of freedom, it shakes the world without ever saying a word. Number 3, their confidence comes from within. There's confidence. And then there's Sigma confidence. And make no mistake, the two aren't in the same league. Sigma confidence is not the kind you scream from a rooftop or plaster all over social media. It's not measured by likes, followers, or applause. It's a quiet, unshakable presence. The kind that enters a room and instantly alters the energy without uttering a single word. This isn't bravado. It's not about dominance or seeking validation. It's a deep-rooted self-assurance built on independence, self-awareness, and purpose. Sigmas don't need the spotlight to feel important. They're the spotlight, even when they stand in the shadows. This type of confidence is what unsettles people. In a world driven by external validation, where popularity as currency and self-worth is tied to appearance or performance, someone who simply without effort becomes a mystery and a threat. The guy wearing the loudest outfit, cracking the most jokes, or shouting over everyone in the room may temporarily grab attention. But when a Sigma walks in, calm, composed, and unaffected, people start wondering. Psychologically, this confidence stems from high emotional intelligence and intrinsic motivation. Sigmas are not ruled by the opinions of others. Studies show that those with strong internal motivation and low need for social approval tend to be more resilient, focused, and independent thinkers. That's the Sigma way. They've mastered the art of silence, the strength of solitude, and the power of self-trust. What's even more powerful, the paradox that unfolds. When you stop trying to win over the crowd starts trying to win over you. That's the magnetism of a Sigma male. He doesn't respect, it, not by acting superior, but by being grounded in who he is. And in a world obsessed with noise, that kind of silent strength speaks volumes. So yes, there's confidence, and then there's Sigma confidence. One needs a stage, the other builds empires in silence. Number 4, they're unpredictable by design. You don't reveal your next move, you don't post your life for public consumption, and you don't chase trends, you observe them like a wolf quietly watching the flock. These aren't just cool personality quirks. They're behaviors rooted in something far deeper, the mastery of unpredictability. In a world obsessed with oversharing, broadcasting every meal, emotion, and milestone for likes and validation, your silence speaks volumes. People are unnerved, not because they know what you're about to do, but because they. And that mystery, that's power. Unpredictability is one of the most feared human traits for a reason. Evolutionarily, humans are hardwired to seek patterns. It's how we survive, predicting the weather, anticipating danger, reading social cues. When someone breaks that pattern, it scrambles the brain. It causes discomfort, even anxiety. The military has long recognized this. In fact, unpredictability is a key tactic in warfare known as asymmetric strategy, where you never strike the same way twice, keeping your opponent off balance. The same principle applies socially. When people can't anticipate your actions, they lose the ability to manipulate or control you. This isn't about being secretive just to be cool. It's about maintaining psychological autonomy in a world that tries to map you, track you, label you. Your unpredictability makes people nervous, not because you're dangerous, but because you're free. When you don't follow the crowd, you force people to confront their own conformity. When you withhold your next step, you disrupt the script they've written for you in their heads. That rattles them. In essence, unpredictability breaks the illusion of control. And for many, control equals comfort. So when you exist outside their forecast, when you don't respond the way they expect, when your silence replaces their need for closure, they begin to fear you, not because you've done anything wrong, but because you represent something they can't manage. You are a variable in a world addicted to formulas, and that alone is enough to unsettle the entire room. Number 5, they attract attention without trying. Women, men, dogs, cats, baristas, everyone senses that Sigma aura. It's not something you announce, it's something the Sigma male doesn't chase validation, and that alone shifts the entire atmosphere when he walks into a room. You don't flirt with attention, you ignore it, and that's exactly why it comes running. While most people exhaust themselves trying to be seen, you remain calm, reserved, and unfazed. That mysterious presence doesn't beg for eyes. It commands them. What's at play here is something deeper than just personality. It's behavioral psychology. Studies have shown that humans are naturally intrigued by unpredictability and autonomy. People pay closer attention to those who don't immediately reveal themselves. The Sigma male leverages this without even trying. Your independence, your emotional control, your refusal to play into social hierarchies, all of it triggers curiosity and even admiration. You're the social enigma people can't quite figure out, and that's magnetic. You embody self-contained energy. You're not hungry for connection, though you can easily make one. You're not competing with anyone, though you effortlessly outperform the room in presence alone. It's the way you're fine with or without them. That level of self-sufficiency is rare, and in a world obsessed with constant interaction, it feels like rebellion. You're not the loudest in the room. You don't need to be. You're the quietest one with the loudest impact. Your stillness speaks volumes. Your silence makes people listen harder. There's power in that kind of presence. It's the kind of confidence that doesn't shout. It whispers, and somehow everyone still hears it. People notice the way you sit with composure, the way you observe before you speak, the way you smile like you already know something no one else does. And that's the Sigma difference. While others work to be accepted, you've already accepted yourself. While the world scrambles for belonging, you're too focused on building your own world. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. And that right there is why the world notices, even when you say absolutely nothing. Number 6, they disarm egos without saying a word. Every social circle has that one person, the ego warrior. You know the type, the loudest voice in the room, the one who flexes stories of success, flaunts possessions, dominates conversations, and demands attention like a peacock in full display. They feed off applause, recognition, and validation. And in most cases, it works. People lean in, laugh a little too hard, nod in agreement even when they don't understand a word. It's a carefully constructed performance, and most are too entangled in social games to notice. But then something unexpected happens. A Sigma male enters the room. He doesn't say much. He's not dressed to impress, not looking around for approval, and not laughing at things just to fit in. He's simply present, calm, grounded, and that changes everything. The room shifts. The ego warrior, once the center of attention, suddenly feels exposed, nervous, less certain, because none of his usual tactics work. He's loud, you're unmoved. He brags, you're uninterested. He tries to bait competition, you don't bite. You're not playing his game, and that's the most dangerous move of all. Sigmas disarm egos not with aggression, but with indifference. This isn't passive, it's powerful. Psychology backs this up. Humans crave social feedback, and when someone isn't giving it, when you're immune to social posturing, it triggers discomfort in the person seeking control. That's why silence, observation, and self-containment can be more unsettling than confrontation. It disrupts the feedback loop that egos rely on. Without someone to validate their superiority, the loud ones begin to crumble from within. And here's the kicker: the Sigma doesn't do any of this to prove a point. He's just being himself. That's what makes it so lethal. People with fragile egos need opposition to thrive. They need to win. But how do you win against someone who isn't even playing? You don't. You implode. And that quiet implosion is what causes the entire room to shift in energy. So the next time someone loud suddenly goes quiet when you walk in, know this: your energy spoke louder than their volume ever could. Number 7, they are masters of emotional control. While others blow up, spiral out, or need a crowd to validate their emotions, you stay calm, focused, detached. That calmness isn't just a personality quirk, it's a form of emotional discipline, a mastery of self that's becoming increasingly rare in today's reactionary world. Most people are conditioned to react. They're wired to respond to every slight, every insult, every jab with immediate emotion, anger, frustration, defensiveness. But not you. You've built a fortress within your mind, and while the storm rages around you, your inner world remains unshaken. That kind of control, it's not just admirable, it's intimidating. Psychologically, this kind of detachment is rooted in self-awareness and emotional intelligence. Studies in neuroscience show that people who develop strong prefrontal cortex function, the area of the brain responsible for rational thinking and self-control, tend to regulate their emotions more effectively. They pause, they process, and only then do they respond. This is a mental edge you've honed. Whether through experience, introspection, or sheer willpower, you've trained your nervous system not to react impulsively. You've mastered the art of pausing before you speak and thinking before you feel. And that pause, that moment of silence, it unnerves people more than words ever could. That calm, it's psychological kryptonite. It throws manipulators off their game, frustrates emotional bullies, and confuses those who rely on chaos to maintain control. You can't be baited, guilt-tripped, or gaslighted into doubting yourself, because your self-perception doesn't depend on external validation. You know who you are. You've done the inner work. You've made peace with your solitude, and that makes you unpredictable and therefore unmanageable in the eyes of those who want control. And nothing, absolutely nothing, scares people more than someone they can't emotionally manipulate. Because when you're unshakable, you're not just calm, you're powerful, you're free, and that freedom is threatening to anyone who's still trapped in the emotional cages they haven't yet realized they built themselves. Number 8, they make people reflect on themselves. Here's the deepest truth. Sigma males make people uncomfortable, not because they're aggressive, loud, or seeking attention, but because they unknowingly force others to confront parts of themselves they'd rather avoid. When a Sigma walks into a room grounded in quiet confidence, completely unbothered by the need for validation, it sends shockwaves through the social fabric. That self-reliance, that authenticity, it's not just admirable, it's confronting. People who have built their identities on approval, popularity, or external achievements suddenly feel exposed. Without uttering a single word, the Sigma becomes a living contrast, a silent reminder of what others have buried beneath layers of performance. He doesn't chase clicks, trends, or flattery, yet he commands attention. Why? Because truth is magnetic and uncomfortable. Psychologically, this is known as self-comparison theory, where people subconsciously measure themselves against others. But unlike admiration that comes with looking up to a celebrity, the Sigma's presence is too real, too raw. He's not selling anything, he's just being. And that being becomes a mirror, not to judge, but to reflect. A man who doesn't fold under peer pressure, who doesn't conform to expectations, highlights just how much everyone else does. It's not his intention to make people squirm, it's just the consequence of authenticity in a world addicted to pretense. That's why Sigma males are both intriguing and unnerving. They don't expose others with words, they do it with presence. And presence, when anchored in truth, is the most revealing force of all. In a world that thrives on noise and validation, Sigma males are feared not because they try to be, but because they exist outside the system. They walk a path few dare to tread, one that doesn't beg for attention or approval. While society praises the loud, the dominant, and the overtly ambitious, the Sigma man quietly rewrites the rules. He doesn't chase followers, he chases growth. He doesn't need hierarchy, he builds his own reality, and that's where his power lies, in self-mastery. True strength isn't about overpowering others, it's about mastering your impulses, your emotions, and your mission. Studies in psychology show that individuals who exhibit high self-discipline and intrinsic motivation tend to outperform their peers, not through aggression, but through consistency.